right, good morning. You guys hear me in YouTube land? Hi, Mason.
Stop filled.
All right, I'm assuming you guys can hear me. I'll be back in a minute after this disclaimer stuff.
Risk disclosure statement. There is a risk of loss in trading stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, derivatives, options, forex, and cryptocurrencies. This risk can be substantial, and therefore investors should generally consider their financial ability prior to trading. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. The software, strategies, chapters, websites, and associated websites which are used for educational purposes only should not be considered as express or by or identity to a profit analysis made limited and whatsoever. Users of the information accept sole responsibility for the outcomes of their deployment in both sites and trade, LLC and associated companies, agents, management, owners, and customers responsible for information. Please trade responsibly. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, Rule 4.41, hypothetical and simulated trading performance results have certain and limitations. Some features are herein. No representation is made with any calculus likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those shown. In fact, there are frequently sharp differences between hypothetical or simulated performance results and the actual results subsequently achieved by any particular trading program. One limitation of hypothetical performance results is that they are generally prepared with the method of hindsight. In addition, hypothetical trading does not involve financial risk, and in hypothetical trading we can't completely account for the impact of financial risk in actual trading. For example, the ability to withstand losses or ideal for a particular trading program is by trading loss in material points which can also adversely affect actual trading results. Because these trades have not actually been executed, the hypothetical results cannot or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. There are numerous other factors related to markets in general and to implementation of any specific trading program which cannot fully account for in simulated trading or in preparation of hypothetical performance results at all, of which adversely affect actual trading results.
All right, good morning. Very quiet, of course. Why would it be active with war going on? But it is. I just took a so on these webinars, if you're new to these webinars, I'm going over my trading strategies. I'll be back to this. I'm going over different strategies I take. I take position strategies where I'm looking for bigger moves, extended moves, and then I have a reversion trade where we're playing back to these stop iceberg events, which is the core of my methodology and my trading. So you can see here this buy ice came in and Russell, and I took a reversion trade off of a method Q gamma level. It's called a back in black as I take it coming back. I'll go over that here in a second. I just so thrilled we actually got an event here and then Q. Let me see what's going on here. So for the trading strategy, so again, the core are these volume events here. Let me turn this stuff off. Subchart stuff. So CME came out about 7 years ago with this enhanced data that shows the stops and iceberg information. I believe, again, it's just my opinion, that they did it to kind of throw the retail trader a bone since the retail trader was dying. These algos were just blowing everyone out. So I think they've given us this information to kind of keep us in the game. They and the big monies agreed because the whole point of an iceberg is to hide orders, right? Because they don't want to put in big size in the market because these algos are running away from them. So the big money is okay with it because they want retail traders in here to take your money, so our money. So that, and I am a retail trader these days. So I'm convinced that's why they've done it, but it doesn't matter why they've done it. We can see it, right? So that was this here just came in, sell ice. Developer my trade room figured out how to draw this on the heat map, so we now have the exact prices instead of having to draw this manually, which I did for about 7-8 years. Come in here and figure out where this occurred, and then come up and draw the event. Now the event draws automatically, and it gives you where you get in. So if I'm taking a position, say I'm going short a position size, it's telling me where I get in, where I get out. I get out all the way up here. We'll go over why I do that. But the blue line is the current ATR. So again, it looks like there's a ton of stuff on my chart. There is, but it's not complicated, right? So it's the volume event, right? Which was that. Then you have the current ATR, which is very, very, very important. The two most important things in trading is volume and volatility. Right now, it's a 45 ATR, meaning it's a 5-minute ATR, meaning it's rotating 45 points every 5 minutes, which is pretty volatile. It's not that volatile for how it's been lately, but it's still volatile. Then the way I get in these trades, if I'm taking a reversion trade, say it's the 1 ATR reversion, I actually jump in right in front. That's the dotted test, or these dotted lines here. And then if I'm taking a position trade, I'm getting in outside of an ATR because I'm forcing the market to push outside of an ATR because I've just noticed the tendency over 8 years of trading these things, how the market will snap back to the volume event at an ATR. So if I'm going to take a position trade where I'm looking for bigger moves out, I'm waiting for a move outside of the zone. I mean, outside of the ATR. So then how I trade, let me just see what this trade's doing. So just getting whipsawed here. So I put it, here's the example of the reversion trade here. So I got the buy ice. I didn't put on an IZZY. This was an IZZY trade. I just missed it. And of course, it was a huge winner right off the bat, 130 tick winner. I'll go over that as well. But you could take these, the version, this is the one, these dotted lines are the 1 ATR, the 2 ATR, the 3 ATR, right? So you can take the 1s aggressively, the 2s aggressively, the 3s aggressively. If you're taking them aggressively, you got to take them. Well, I might get out of some of these here at this SKEX level. This is a good trade here. I don't want to get out of that money, but kind of jumped the gun on that.
The Dow Jones down 1%.
Wait a second, hold on. I'll put that back on. Whoops. Yeah, that's right. All right, I was thinking we were closer to the SKEX level. I wanted to get out of some of the SKEX level because it tends to bounce, and it's already a nice trade. So hopefully I don't get burned on that, but I'll get out of some there, and I'll get out of the rest at the zone. So the actual way you trade this reversion trade. Hold on, I'll be back here. I just want to make sure I'm not missing it. So again, guys, I'm trading live, so it's going to be fast, right? But once you understand what you're looking at, so this looks like this was an IZZY. I'll take an IZZY short here, 25.25. My position trading sizing is right up here. I'll go over all that here in a second. Just don't want to miss this trade. Make sure this is working here. So I'm trading Apex accounts and I'm copying the live accounts as well. By the time I get this thing set up, it's going to be out the page. All right, it still didn't hit my entry point, so I'm all right with that. I'll go over this in a second. I'm just trying to get set up here. So we're going to be watching the price change algo too, and a couple of their algos. I'm going to show you guys. I'm actually in the process of making a course on how I use the market pulse. It's very, very, very powerful, especially in context with what we're using with the stop iceberg events. But you can see here this thing hit price change and turn around and rip the other way. So I actually would not have been filled. I'm shocked that I didn't have this thing get filled with a tick like usual, but never would have been filled. So that trade is still brewing. Of course, this came real close to my exit. If I was over here, I would have got the rest of these, and I didn't. So hopefully it comes back here. All right, so back to this trade. Well, let me get my order in if this comes back here at NASDAQ. So what I'm referring to, so the way I'm using these events is I'm trading for the propensity, and I actually just missed this trade too, potentially. This was a reversion trade. I just wasn't even, my mindset wasn't even to take this. I was looking for the short here for my position trade, but this tagged the 1 ATR, and hey, look at that, right back to the zone, the exact tick. So this is where we get out of the reversion trade. So I missed that one. This was an aggressive entry, I believe. There was no meaning. I'm not taking, like I took off the method Q level here. So I've got different ways of trading this. Let me get a couple more of these. Again, you could take these aggressively, the reversion trade. So the reversion trade is the best thing to for a scalp that I know of in these. Hold on, let me just get out of this. That's good enough. That was a good trade. Close enough for me. Especially because, you know, this is the zone drawing tool. Lots of traders are using this now. So a lot of traders have orders sitting at these exit prices, right? So it's like the market will come down and see all those orders and run, and the algo's running away. That's why firms use iceberg orders. They have to hide their orders in the order book. This is going to get filled anyway, but I'm fine with it. That was a good opening trade, and especially because I got smoked in one of these yesterday. And Russell, I lost the 3, 2, and 1. Just ripped through. It just ripped straight like 400 ticks. But this is the whole point of trading, guys. It's like you have an edge. You don't pick and choose. You see the trade, you put it on. Yesterday, this exact same trade on my trading webinar, morning webinar. I took the, there was like a GEX level. I bounced off of it. I took the 1 ATR. Then there was another one I took the 2. I think there was another one I took the 3, and all 3 of them lost. Right, a very rare move for like that. It doesn't usually move 400 points, especially without a pullback. But yesterday it did. I don't know what's going to happen next. Just like today, this one. So most traders say, "Oh my God, I got crushed yesterday in that one. I'm not taking this one today," and then they skip this one, and then that one's a huge winner. Right, so. This is pretty much exactly what I lost on the trade yesterday. I got it back. So this is a great example of, by the way, it sniffed. This is what I'm talking about. See how it just sniffed that price and ran away. But this is what trading is. It's finding an edge, having edge, and this is the best edge I've ever seen in my 25 years of experience. You guys hear me say it all day, every day. And then you have your rules for your edge, and you put the trade on every time you see it. You don't say this one feels bad. I just lost 5 in a row. This one's not going to work. I'm not putting it on. That's the hardest part about trading, and that's why most traders can't do it, because they just can't separate themselves and be in more of an algo mode, right? If you want to beat the algos, you got to trade like an algo, meaning an algo doesn't say, "Oh, I lost yesterday's trade. I'm not going to put this one on." It just keeps putting on, putting on, putting on. If it's an edge, you will make money in the long run, right? All right, so that is a winner, chicken for dinner. Nice start to the day. That was my only trade of the day so far. NASDAQ still has not confirmed, so the way I'm trading these again, so I'm going to post this and then I'll be going over this. So what I just showed you there was the reversion trade. So I've made courses for all these, so you can learn. You can learn watching me trade live, but it's going to take some time. So that's what this one was, right? So there's a perfect example. That was a yes. So that's the reversion course, right? So I explain everything in there, all the rules, all the disqualifiers for the reversion trade. There's my trading strategies course. So what I'm doing is, this is the core course. This is the 6 distinct stop iceberg events that I was showing you, right? So I'm looking for these in important areas. That's what comprises a trading strategy. We'll go over these at length. And then I'm also looking for these for the market to come back to the event, which happens with ridiculous regularity. I can show you 10 of them today already, literally. Crude, I think crude's happened like, see, I told you there's a camera in my office. Every time I mention a market, something fires off in it, because they're watching everything I do. Watching, looking, judging. So anyway, there was a version right there. This one came back too. So the point is, I didn't take these. These were aggressive entries, but the point is, it happens all day, every day. So now back to this. So the trading strategies are these trading strategies here. So these are, again, if you get the course or you're learning these strategies, it's not to take every single strategy. It's to take a couple of these and get really good at them, get profitable, get confident in them, and then add one if they make sense to you, and as you get good at the original ones that you start to trade. So my strategies, what I'm doing is I'm looking for these events in an important area. Well, what important area was this? So I have my important areas, but I just don't throw on trades unless I get an iceberg event, stop iceberg event, because it is the most powerful edge, like I said. So as much as I love an area, I still won't trade it unless I get the iceberg event in the direction that I think it should trade. So this was the opening, shocker, the market rallied on the open, right to this inflection zone that's still powerful, still, so I draw these zones based on the 4 important areas of charting, right? Tops and bottoms of balance areas, high volume nodes of balance areas. That's just the middle of a balance area where the most trade took place. Balance area is nothing more than traders placing bets, longs, shorts, longs, shorts. And when it breaks out of there, you get big moves, because whoever's wrong needs to get the hell out, right? So tops and bottoms of balance areas, high volume nodes of balance areas, directional conviction. So this zone was directional conviction, meaning just straight, long, elongated moves, right? So that's another reason. And a lot of times everything lines up, right? So these directional convictions lined up with the top of this balance area. It makes it even more powerful. And then buying and selling tails, very, very powerful as well. So tails are just instant rejection, right? So that's how I draw these zones. So that's just one of my important areas. It's called my inflection zone, nicknamed Izzy, the Izzy trade. So if I have an inflection zone where I'm waiting for a trade, I wait for it to get up there. I just don't short automatically. I need to see an event, and then I still don't short automatically. I need to see the market move the ATR out of the zone, which this is about to do. right? So in this particular trade, it's already done the reversion trade, the scalp trade that I'm teaching you guys. And then now I'm about to get short this Izzy trade. Of course.
Order filled.
Why is this not firing? It's not copying.
The Defense Ministry confirming UAE air defenses are intercepting incoming missiles and drones from Iran.
Right. And also, guys, obviously, we're getting news stories nonstop, right? So you got to be okay with, getting headline. You should be used to it by now, going back literally a year and counting. It's been nothing but headlines with the tariffs and Trump speaking, nonstop. And it's just part of the markets now, right? And then you throw in the hero. We haven't got to this yet. This is the complete driver of almost every tick in the market nowadays, the 0-day to expiration manipulation game that they're playing, where they load up the dealers and the dealers have to hedge in futures. So we're going to keep an eye on that. All right, so I'm short. So that was just one area. I potentially could have gotten short at other areas. Let's see. This was other area here. Probably should know. See, this is what you need to do pre-market, right? You got to know all your areas. So when stuff starts firing off, you're not scrambling to see, like I'm doing right now, where are we at? I should know where we're at. So this is right at the top of this huge market profile composite, another important area. So the entries, I'm going to take this pick. I mean, it's right on this. So every time I skirt the rules here, I usually get burned, but I'm going to take this just because I can't pass up being short, because I love when the longs get their asses handed to them. So hold on, let me see what I got here. Oh, you know why? Because I had my trade copier off. That's why that didn't work. Hold on. Don't be running away on me, NASDAQ. Just give me a second. 36. All right, I'm missing this, but I'm still going to put it on 136.
Order filled. Order filled.
Why is this not? Oh my God. Hold on. I keep forgetting to turn on my copier. Let's try this again. Turn it on. Luckily, it's just hanging out of my entry price. There we go. All right. I missed it a little bit. It started running away. So I got it. So two different important areas where I got a bearish amount. My Izzy and the pick trade. So I'm short.
Forecast for a draw of 124 BCF on prior draw of 52 BCF.
This guy's so loud. And then I'll play the price change game. If this pops up again, we'll go over this. I can add to this trade too. So I'm scalping around my position and I'll get out on price change in important areas. So say this comes down with the price change, I'll get into this. I haven't even talked about this yet. I'll get out, I'll get back in. So it's more advanced trading. You got to be, it's very, can't think of the word, but you got to be on top of the trade. Obviously, you can't just put it on and then wait for a longer term target. You can, but the price change game isn't going to help you there. All right, so that I just want to make sure I don't have any orders working here. Let me get out of this trade here. Forgot that I had this on.
Order filled.
That's that. So I am short NASDAQ, two different strategies. The pick trade, profiles and courage, we call it. Yes, after the book by JFK. So I've named these on purpose memorable, comical names, so they're memorable, right? We got the slug, stop running a major lug. Well, I'm not going to go over all these until I put them on, but here was the Izzy trade, inflection zone trade, Izzy. So when I just put on the short, and then we got profiles and courage, the pick. So again, another important area. So the sell ice was up here more, but my entry was just inside this or right on it, and I took it. Right, so this is telling you something too thesis-wise. This thing tried to get out of here today and couldn't. It's back inside. So what do you expect? It should do this. It might pop back out again. I don't know. But normally, if a market tries to get out and gets back in it, it'll transverse the other side, just like yesterday. Try to get out of it, or try to get out this way, and then transverse that way. So it's just, when I'm talking about a thesis, it's a guess. It's a guess on what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. What I do know is if I get volume events in the direction of my thesis, I can trade bigger. So I actually could potentially trade this bigger, even though I'm pushing the envelope with this this entry, this pick right on this, right? Because it was like the top of this guy was at what 28, 25, and my entry for this was at 24, so it was just inside. All right, so this is already a nice winner. I'm gonna get out of one of these.
Order filled.
I'm sure this is price changing too, so and I can get back in too, right? Struggling today with my accounts. All right.
Order filled.
All right, so I got out of one here. You can see this is price change. This has been price changing this whole time. Doesn't happen that often. I don't want to say almost never, but this is the deal with the price change. Once I show you this thing, once it settles down and the algos start taking over, it'll do this price change up, price change down, price change up, and that's the game you can play. There's going to be times where the thing price changes for this one just price changed for 140 points, right? Because the big money just came in here and loaded this. They just said something I ran. Whatever the reason is, sometimes it will price change for long, not very often, but it does. So anyway, this is price changing in the GEX4 spot gamma level. These are areas where I will get out of some of my trades. So I got out of half of my short that I put on, and I still have half to go. So then the way I trail my stops, the biggest mistake that retail traders make is say you got in the short with me, right? And again, this trading webinar is not to be copying my trades, it's to learn how to do this for yourself, right? So this is educational purposes only. I'm trading live, but I'm showing you for you to learn, not saying blindly, not knowing why you're going short, right? Like you will never ever. There's so many lazy traders out there that just want some guy to say buy here, sell here. You're never ever going to be profitable like that, because I've seen guys that do that. These educators, and I'm doing air quotes as usual, they'll get in and then they'll just, because they're bad traders, they'll be like, okay, I'm out. And then guys are just sitting there holding the bag that followed their trade, right? They have no idea why I got out. I'm explaining to you why I got in. I'm explaining to you why I got out. And that's the whole point, is to learn how to do this for yourself. That's why I do the live trading webinars. And that's why I made the courses, because it tells you how to do this. I'll get into this, the rest of the stuff in here too. Here's the zone joy until it's on the Bookmap Marketplace. Actually, I did not post that in YouTube. My bad. Hold on. Put this in YouTube. And you got questions, try to throw them in YouTube. I don't see Discord. I'll try to look. I'm not even on the right account here at YouTube.
It's been 5 minutes time now at the bottom of the hour. See the release of the weekly EIA natural gas change. Forecast is
Right, so this is continue to go, right? I got out of one. I made the best judgment I could there. I could have used a couple other things, which I'm going to show you market pulse wise to kind of judge if it's going to keep ripping through. All right, so this is a potential sexy Gexy trade long. I only take reversions on this account. That's why you're not seeing that. That's why you saw the Russell reversion. And then I take the other trades on my other account. But this is a potential sexy Gexy, which I'm going to take. I'll go over that. This is one of the only trades I'll jump in right in the middle of the zone. So see what happens here. See if this is close enough. All right, so sexy Gexies, when I get an opposing, in this case NASDAQ opposing this, you got buy ice coming in at a major, this is the number one Gex level, meaning the most powerful Gex level on the board from the night before, longer term Gex levels, and you got a spot gamma. So these are method Q, these are spot gamma. Right, so the way I trade these is one of the only ones. Remember, I was talking about how I wait for the market to move an ATR plus out to enter. Well, this one I'll jump in smack dab in the middle of the zone if it's at a GEX level with my stop right here. It's a great risk reward trade. I could actually trade bigger size here. We got 2 on. And then, so now we got all these different trades happening now, right? So I'm still short. First and foremost, now I trail my stop to the most recent event. I got out of some here, right? I still have 1 on. Now I'm still short 1 in one strategy, and then I'm long the sexy Gexy another. But for the short, I'm going to trail my stop to the most recent event. That's how I stop out of my trades. I don't trail my stop because I don't want to get profit. Again, the market doesn't care what you want to make or lose. The market cares about what? Volatility and volume events. So that's why I trail my stop to volume events. So this stop will now go. That's what this yellow line is, right? Remember, I entered on the yellow line below the zone up here. Now I won't, and I can potentially take longs off of this too, depending on where we're at. On top of the sexy Gexy long. Speaking of which, let me put my stop in here so if this swipes down, I don't get crushed. 59.75 is your stop there. So you can see, guys, I'm jumping from strategy to strategy, area to market to market. That's why it's hard to follow initially, but I'm not doing anything that complicated. Trust me, I'm not that complicated. All right, let's see if this bounces. If it doesn't, it's telling you something too, right? And I'm still short. If I had more on, I only had 2 on. I was going to put on more if we got the price change game, which I'm going to show you, but I never got that. But I still had something on. But if I had more on instead of just 1, I would get out of more right here at the Gex level, right? But I have it on. This gets killed, then at least I am still short. If this pops up, I'm going to stop out of my shorts and potentially put on longs, and I'm already long the sexy Gexy trade. So the sexy Gexy is this guy. One of the 3 trades where I will jump in right smack dab in the middle of the zone. Only 3. Sexy Gexy, take any fade trade into a spot gamma or menther cube gamma level. Trades taking immediately when an opposing stop iceberg event fires off. Market moving lower in this case with a sell stop run or buy icebergs. Be wary of the trade if rel vol is elevated, and I did look over. I actually was prudent here, and rel vol was not elevated because I don't want to be hoping these dealers are still hedging here, right? That's what I'm playing for, the quick bounce. Doesn't mean it can't go right through. Something's going. This is news, and again, if it was heavy relative volume, I wouldn't have taken the trade. It's not, so I'm willing to take the trade. I don't know if this thing's going to keep free falling, but I do know the relative volume is not too crazy, right? So it's barely normal. So I'm fine with this trade. Again, I take every one that I see, and then I let the probabilities play out. My stop's down here, 57.75. So the way I trade these Gexys, if this thing can hold and I get a dealer reaction, I get out of half of them just in front of the ATR, and then I'll let half ride because it is a volume event where I'm looking for a potential bigger move. Let's see what Hero's doing here too, because this is a guarantee. This is what's driving this move. Hey, what do you know? Let's see here. Refresh this because the thing always freezes on me. And we got a flow alert too. So this is a flow B as well. The other. This guy is like too loud or maybe he's too soft. I could put a flow B on here too. So 3 out of 4 times, what's going on here? This is the spot gamma real-time hero flow, the options flow. So the blue or purple or color is the options flow. Hold on, let me just see what's going on here. All right, so I might step out of this one. And guys, this is what trading is, right? And I'm still short my position trades, but I took the Gexy like I should have. I don't know that the big money is going to keep plowing in here. And again, this isn't even a relative volume. My stop's in, about to stop out. Didn't get filled with a tick yet. That's amazing in its own right. Now I got filled. All right, so I stopped out of the Gexy. I'm actually glad I didn't put the Floby on it. I would have put that on because I trade my strategies every time, right? And I'm still short Izzy and Pick. So let's see where we're at here. So for me, there's really no area for me to get out of this final piece, right? So the way I usually trade these, I'll get out. Say if I had, 4 on. I'll get out of 1 at that Gex level, like I said. Say something else is here at the point of control, I'll get out another one. But I try to hold my position until we get to the major Ludwig level. Then I'll get out. Like if this swiped down to Ludwig level, I'll be out. Or an opposing volume event. So we did get a volume event, but this was not opposing. This is a bearish event too, right? So I still trail my stop up to here based on this event, right? But I'm in this trade. I'm going to hold on to this trade, right? So this is just make sure everything is working here. Yes. All right, so this is my P&L so far. All I got is 1 left. These are live ones, live guys. All right, there was that reversion trade. Here's the one guy that I have on the mic. So and then that's the sexy Gexy I lost. This is trading. You just keep putting it on. Now we got tick extremes. This has been a pretty big move, and a lot of times you get tick extremes, the market reverses. I'm going to watch this closely. I might get out of one of these strategies down here just because it's probably going to bounce. And the thing is, too, if it bounces, I can put it back on with the price change game. So we'll try that here. This gets down to here with the price change. This thing's continuing to price change. I'll get out, and then the price changes back up. I'll put it back on. So we'll scalp around the position while we're on the webinar if it can get down there. If it doesn't, then my stop's up here. Now I got a new event, right? So now I could trail my stop to this event. Now I don't have to get out any down here. I was going to get out of one and then play the price. I could still do that, but now I got a new event. Here comes more sell ice. Now I'm going to trail my stop to wherever this pops in, and I'm guaranteed profit. But I'm not just trailing a stop because I don't want to get back my profit. I force the market, or I want the market to show me, with these volume events and volatility. So here's my stop. So now I got a couple other things here too. I got an A plus reversion. So here's the reversion sizing. Here's the 1 ATR. It's right at X. This is an awesome higher probability. Put it on this guy too. 125. All right, that's working. All right, so first and foremost, I'm trailing my stop to this most recent event for the pick short because this is a huge trade, right? Quickly, you don't usually get this easy of a trade. That just telling you this is part of the news story, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm never gonna know. I just put the trade on. That was this entry here. So what was that? 200 point, basically straight move, right? Now I'm trailing my stop. I got out of one way up here, and I still have one on. This pops up here. This is my exit point, this yellow line. I'm not going to exit in this middle of this volume event. This whole reason we take A plus reversion. I'm going to go over that here in a second. I'm going to move it just above here. This is where it gets subjective. You could just follow the rules, but you should be following the rules once you start. You just start trading these things. You can just say, this is where it tells me to get out, I get out. Once you get better, you may say, I've just noticed every time my stop's in a prior event, it tags the prior event and comes right back. The reason for that is because there's strapped traders here that want the hell out when it comes back. Like this buy ice that just bought here, that was not a very good buy, right? Assuming they were buying aggressively, not getting out of positions. You're never going to know that either. So stop trying to figure that out. I get emails all the time, or even on the webinars. So what do you think they're trying to do here? Are they covering their shorts? Are they hedging their option? It doesn't matter. You're never going to know unless you're sitting next to them, right? So stop trying to analyze why they're doing something. Just realize the volume event in its own right is the edge, and there's traders here on both sides. Mainly, there are buyers here too. You see the market bubbles, the buying market bubbles. Paper came in and bought. They're not feeling very good. They just ripped 100 points in their face in about 5 seconds. When it comes back, what do you think it's going to do the first time? Very likely it's going to bounce off. That leads me to the reversion trade, the A plus reversion trade. We already know these markets tag the ATRs and come back. The 1 ATR, the 2 ATR, the 3 ATR. They're even better when you have to get through to get stopped out. You got to get through a prior event. So this one would have to get through GEX1, through the prior event, through GEX4, and I'd even move my stop up above this. So to have to get through 4 different things to stop me out. That is a high probability reversion trade. It's an A plus trade just because it's into the prior event. So let's hope we can get filled on that puppy. Come on, you can do it. I might just jump in this.
Order filled.
All right, I just jumped in right on it because it was right on the GEX. So now I'm short reversion, A plus reversion. So you see, I'm flipping. I have different accounts for different strategies. So you can put these. That's why I recommend Apex. And then also Tradier. We'll get into all this stuff in the flip book. Tradier is the brokerage I use. They allow you to have. I have 10 different accounts where I could be. You're watching it. I've been short on 2 of them. I took the long Gexy, right? I took the short reversion here, right? So depending on what trading strategy you want to take, and if you want to take multiple, then you're going to need multiple accounts. Well, you don't have to, but I mean, there's many times you're going to be like long a position trade and you're going a shorter reversion trade. So how are you going to do that in one account? You can't. Hold on here.
Trump says US will not be
Now Trump's talking too, so I know that's a new one, but he is. So again, I could get trumped here, right? He says one thing bullish, this trade's done. So, and I'm going to stop out of this. Just trying to figure out where I'm going to step out. And on top of that, I need to be looking for long strategies because this is a bullish event now, right? This was looking so good for that reversion, and then he said Trump started talking. So this is an Izzy long now too. So I'm going to stop out of my Izzy short, and I'm going to go long Izzy. I just don't know how much I want to move this. You know, ATR is 54, so it's not crazy to move it up here. I'll just move it above. I'm not going to move it all the way above this prior event too. That's a little egregious. We're talking 60 points, but I'll force this to get above. I'll put it at 42.75. So it's still another 30 points, but I'm okay with it. The ATR is 50. So I'm going to get out of my Izzy and pick shorts, and I'm going to go Izzy long, and there might be another long here too I could potentially take. Let me see here. What did I say the price was? So this, again, subjective. I should already be stopped out of this trade, but I'm not stopping out into this prior event. I'm talking about my shorts. We'll put it at 44. Again, Izzy. All right. Is there any other area that I can? No. So for me, there's no other area to take along. We had the Izzy. I'll show you that again. There was nothing market profile. I get any of the tops or bottoms. This is the pick trade we took up here, right? I don't take trades at the point of control. You could. You did have extreme standard deviation of VWAP, where these algos love to snap it back to VWAP, like you're seeing right here. But I don't. I have a trade for that. It's called the dad, but I need a stop run with a diverging delta. Again, I'll cover that if it comes up. I don't want to. You guys are probably already confused. All right, so the stop, I'm going to put the stop. It should be here for the 1 ATR. That's what this dash dotted line is. So again, when you understand what's on this chart, it's not that confusing, right? This is my entry for the 1 ATR. This is the stop. This is my entry for the 2 ATR. This is the stop. And then you got the 3 entry and the stops up here. That's all these lines are. This is the volume event. Then you have your ATR, your entry for longs, and your ATR below here, and entry for shorts. That's it. And the only other thing on here are GEX levels. And then you obviously got the heat map.
Order filled.
All right, so I stopped out of my shorts. Now I'm long, Izzy. So this trade was looking like this was going to come right back to the zone, and then Trump said something, and now the market's ripping. You have no control over that, right? Hold on, I need to get out of this guy. Oh, that's my. Hold on here.
The Australian dollar falls 1% against the US dollar.
Order filled.
All right. So I'm out of my shorts. I'm into a long. I still have the short reversion trade on. That's not looking very promising right now. But again, like this one worked. This one may not. Don't know which ones are going to work, which ones aren't. I put them all on because it's an edge. So this is why I moved that stop right above here. Right, so the stop should have been right there, but it was in this prior event. So let's see if that can hold. If not, I mean, you can still take the 2 reversion here too, right? This is a back and black off all these. I'm going to take that on this account. Hold on here.
Order filled. Order filled.
So the 2 ATR reversion, the stop's up here. I might take it on this one too. Hold on, 1950. So I don't know if this is a news story or not. I'm assuming it is. But again, you have no. I didn't want to do that. Come on.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled.
I'm going to put this too. I'm going to put both these on. So I put on the 1 A+. This one's not A+, but you have all these GEX levels. It's got to get through to stop me out. So I'm all right with it. So we'll put that there. All right, those reversions are on. I just put 2 on. So if this is the thing too, the sizing, I'm being pretty aggressive here because if these both lose, I'm going to lose $1,000 on this trade, right? this sizing here is, I'm risking what's 400 each, right? So if I put on 3 on each of them, I'm risking $800. I mean, if you're going to play the reversion, you shouldn't be risking more than 2% of your account in any trade. Well, make sure you're not putting on 4% of your account, because each one of these is set up to be 2% of my account size. See what I'm saying? You get me? All right, I'm sick of watching that thing. Let's look at this one more time just to get positive vibes. This was my winner earlier. All right, so that puts me back in nice positive mental. Nothing in BS today yet. Yeah, nothing doing in here. So that's why you want to watch other markets. All you young traders that love to just stare at this market, if there's nothing going on, then you're out of luck. That's why I was watching 6 main ones that I watched, but I was watching a ton more. I had to take them off my book map because I was slowing my book map down. All right, what's going on in this little piglet? All right, so I am long one Izzy. What I'm going to do here, if this price changes back down, I'm going to add to it. All right, so I only got one on. That's where I remember I ended up here on the Izzy trade. I got out of my Izzy shorts and into it Izzy long. If this pops back down with the price change, I'm going to go over this here in a second. Then I'll put another one on. A much better price, obviously, right? And then my stop for my Izzy longs down here. Let's turn some tick strike on. It's a little too quiet. I got to get annoyed somehow. Haven't been ticked out yet today. That's a positive sign. I mean, I'm usually ticked out about 3 or 4 times by now, meaning I fill to the tick and then lose, or stop out to the tick and then comes all the way back. So you guys have heard my trials and tribulations with my tick outs. It's not explainable. So I finally got on because I was literally going to commit myself to a mental institution. So I got on with Dr. Brett Steenbarger. He's the one who wrote Enhanced Trading Performance. He sat behind me one back in the day. I'm in that book. Obviously, I've talked about it many times, Glory Days. But anyway, I got on a phone call with him. I'm like, I'm literally about to be put away. I cannot understand how these prices are that exact. And I showed him my tick collage. I'm not even going to bring it up right now because I'll bring up bad juju. But anyway, I showed him. So and this is probably only half of the times I've been ticked out. I've been doing screenshots and I call it my to the tick collage. And it has happened since August. I've been stopped out, filled to the tick, and the market went the. Now, I'm not just talking fill to the tick and it goes a little bit and comes back. I'm talking fill to the tick and the trade's profitable, or fill to the tick on my stop and the trade's profitable. That's what I meant by that. But see, now we get annoyed by the tick strike. Either the point is I get ticked out all the time. So I showed him the collage, and instead of him like trying to talk me off the ledge, he's like, yeah, I actually see an incredible edge here. And I'm like, and what's so funny is Andrew from my room, he's coming up with this, he came up with this AI coaching, which you get for free if you come in my room, AI coaching journaling thing, which is going to be the best one out there by far. It's going to knock all these other ones out of business. He's convinced, and so am I. Anyway, he did the stats on my trades. 70% of my trades I get stopped out. I turn out to be profitable trades, right? So anyway, I showed Dr. Brett, and he's like, yeah, I see an edge here. So we're coming up. It's not ready yet, and I can't do it by hand. But every time I get filled to the tick, turn around and do the opposing trade. So we call it the George Costanza trade, just because it's an edge, right? So if I'm showing him all these instances, so I figured since last August, just the ones I screenshot, it's been 45 times. 45 times I've been filled to the tick. So if I'm, instead of losing 500, I make 500, right? Or sometimes it could have been more than that. Just say it's $1,000 swing. That's $45,000 in live trade, real trade money that I have lost on tick outs. So anyway, we're coming up with a George Costanza trade. So for instance, this is a good example, right? So if this comes up here, which it probably will, and it stops me out to the tick, well, I'll just turn around in my George Costanza trade and then take the short. So I stop out and then take it. I can't do both on the webinars or even when I'm sitting here live, but that's coming. So it's an edge, right? So instead of him being like, oh, Scott, I see it, you're not crazy. He's like, yeah, you could take advantage of it. So that really gave me some motivation where I'm not bitching incessantly about the tick outs because it's now an advantage. All right, this thing just whips on around now. So that's the stop for my 1, the stop for my 2's up here. Again, this is just the reversion trade. I am long the ISI trade. And if it ever pulls back like it normally does, for some reason now we're going to defy physics, market physics. That again, minimum it usually will pull back with a price change. So I've been saying price change game this whole time. So there's different market pulse. So this market pulse is basically they built this at my request like 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago. I've used tick strike for about 15 years now, right? So these are based on the speed of the orders coming in and the size. So I set mine at it's a meter. It goes from 1 to 15, right? So you can see like NVIDIA is a 12 strength right now, right? So I wanted a better version of this because they don't show history, right? See how NVIDIA is jinking this thing up too. They don't show history. And there's a lot of drawbacks from it. I still use it. I like it. I don't like it a lot of times because I have to, like right now, I got to watch my trade go against me and listen to it. It's brutal. It literally, that alone will put you in a loony bin. But anyway, I asked them to come up with a better version. So they came out with the market pulse, and the first one they came out with. So these are all the different algos on here. If I can read, let's see here, there it is. Right. So if you go to create here, well, you can see them all right here. Right. So the original one was volume, pressure, and balance. So that's like tick strike. It's showing you the net buyers and sellers coming in, right? And then they came out with all these other algos. The pace of tape. Well, I'm going to show you some awesome things too with this thing. Again, I'm making a course on it too, but I'll show you a little sneak preview. Order book pressure and balance, pace of tape and balance. So balance just means net. That's all it means, right? So you can watch them individually, buys and sells, or you can watch the net. I like the net, right? Price change. Price change is probably the most prevalent one in here as far as these algos. The minute paper's out of here, you're going to see nothing but price change back and forth. Like let's find like this was news, right? So this is why. And I'm going to show you this again. It works like gold until it doesn't work. So this one price change for 200 plus points doesn't happen very often. Then it gets into this mode, right? Where it goes price change, reverses. This one kept going a little bit. This is a great example. So now algos are starting to take over right here, right? Popped up, price change, reverses. You never know how far it's going to go, but the point is these algos are trading off. If it changes, the price changes too fast, too quick, then these algos fade. That's what this is. And I didn't even know this existed until I made it, right? Lost my train of thought there. So anyway, that's the price change algo. So this is another way you can scalp the markets. I don't scalp this. I'm too old to be trying to jump in every price change. What I will do is like right now, what I could have done there with my long, I could have got out of one in an important area. So this is how I do it. I don't just scalp around just blind price changes, but say a price changes into an important area, I'll get out and then it comes back with a price change. I'll put it back on. And then I'm convinced this is the best way to make art. Yeah, you can catch these big moves. Doesn't happen very often. What happens more? These 200-point moves straight or this nonsense? And anybody that trades knows it's this nonsense that goes on 85% of the time, right? Oh, by the way, I guarantee you Hero is causing this rip. Guaranteed. Right there, right? So the flow did work, but I would have been, this flow, so the way this works again, when you see I'm just so sick of these head ripping moves back up. It's just like you think you got them, you think it's finally going to puke, and then they do this and then they start playing the hero game here. So what's going on here? This is the main driver of the markets. Yes, you will get moves. I mean, the hero did move here too, but the paper comes in, the big money comes in and does their business. Again, 5% of the time. The other 95% of the time, it's algos and 0 date to expiration hero manipulation flow. So what's going on here? Somebody comes in and loads up the dealers. Right, so the blue line is guys either buying puts or selling calls. Well, who's on the other side of it? The dealers, the market makers. Well, what do? They got to hedge themselves. So not directional traders. Well, how do they hedge themselves? They come over in the futures. So it is the same game all day, every single day. It is just the biggest manipulation I've ever seen. And I used to be one of the king manipulators back in the day, right? And then they turn around and they buy it, and it goes like this. So Brett from Spot Gamma likes to say that there's webinars. Go to my YouTube and on my website and on his, obviously, that I've done with him. And he talks about it all the time. $1 billion notional is significant, right? So this thing it just went from plus 1 billion down to close to 3 billion. So that's a 4 minus 3 billion, 4 billion move, turns around, went from 3 billion back. So that's a 2 billion move back and forth. And it just drags the market, manipulates the market all day, every day. This thing trades like a market, but there's times where you can kind of judge, especially with the flow alerts, how the flow alerts work 3 out of 4 times. Just my guesstimation is when you get the flow alert, that means a big options position just fired off extremely large, and the market usually reverses. Well, once the hero levels out, turns up, the market will follow it the other way. So we have the flow be here. That's the trade I would have taken. I would have lost on that one, barely, but I would have. But that's the other trade that we take. So you guys have to know these gamma levels from the day before. You need to know, speaking of real-time gamma levels, let's see what's going on here. This is so important. I need to be looking at this.
Seafarers Union and shipping industry recommending giving mariners a right to
I just get
sail to the Mideast Gulf
on
region.
these tangents where I forget to look at this stuff. All right, hold on. So this is real time. So what we're looking at on the chart are basically gamma levels from the day before, so on and so forth. This is just hysterical. This thing won't price change back, like literally. So it does nothing but price change for 300 effing points. And then I just want one price change to add to my long and maybe get out of some of these reversions. Just no, can't do it. Defying logic. Again, guys, and I'm any kind of news story, I'm screwed, right?
Baseless and absurd.
Please.
Iran remains committed to international law and freedom of navigation. In reality, it's the US that has endangered maritime security.
I don't know how that's positive, but so anyway, you got the gamma levels on the chart from the day before, longer term stuff, and then you have stuff, the 0 day to expiration nonsense that's going on all day, every day. So let's watch what they're doing here, and you can reel this back, right? So watch this. So watch how these. So if market opens up here. This guy's on Eastern time, right? Look at these GEX levels here, right? So normally, what the market will do is head up to these, as just like when we talk about every resting liquidity and on the heat map, it's the same thing. These are like magnets, unless they come off. Now watch these things come off, and then watch what the hero does. This is just a different look at the hero. This blue or purple line. Watch what happens here when these things come off. Boom. Look at that. So all this came off. They got out of their positions, and that's what forced the hero down, right? So how do you know that? Well, they do have a tape feature that I still don't know how to use it properly to kind of foresee this happening before it happens. And the problem with this is the hero is real time, the hero view I was showing you, but this is delayed 10 minutes. So by the time the stuff comes off, many times the thing's already done that, right? The point is, watch where these grow. The market is usually heading down there. So let's see what happens as this progresses here. So let's see that. Let's see. Now they came off though. Watch. So again, they don't always just come on and come off. A lot of times they'll just sit there, and these may come back on too. If they put these back on, especially red means bearish more, and then the blue means bullish, this market will come back down here, right? Very likely. So you can use this stuff for targets. You use it as support and resistance. If these all fill in and this market comes back down here, very likely it's going to bounce. We watch last week's webinar. Go on YouTube, Bookmap YouTube. Watch it. There was nothing in here except for 2 huge GEX levels. Market came down. We got a buy ice, and I took a sexy GEXy off real-time GEX levels, and the market ripped off of there. I think it was like a 30-point winner. So go watch that from last week. But as if you do not have this information, again, you may be profitable, whatever the hell you're doing. It's not going to be for very long, in my opinion, if you don't know this stuff going on. You need to know the option stuff, where these levels are. You don't even need to know how to trade options. I'm not some guru in options. I want to get better at it. I just know these areas are important, and I know the hero is important. And then you need to know the stop iceberg events. If you don't have this stuff, you just don't have all the information. I don't care if you're profitable or not. You'd be 100 times more profitable, in my opinion, if you had the information, right? All right, so I'm still alive in this reversion trade. This has been brutal to watch, but here's a good example of the price change nonsense. For some reason here, here's your first price change down. I'm not going to get out of any right here, but the point is it's probably going to do another one of these, right? Here's one. Here's one. Here's a little dude. Here's a little dude. Here's a bigger dude. Now it's probably going to do that. Why am I not getting it out? Because I just don't take them randomly. So say I'm long into, like I was talking about, if I'm long into an important area, and I get the price change, then I'll turn around and get in this I have multiple contracts on. I'll get out of one and I'll wait for it to price change back down, like right here, and I'll put it back on. Right. And then I can play this game. So if it sits here and does this 20 times in the next 3 hours, which it does all the time, you're catching every rotation with at least a portion. That's how you make your R most days, in my opinion. Yes, you get these moves. Doesn't happen very often. All right, so this is just full algo mode right now. So it's basically an algo round. I almost want to turn the 6-strike off again. By the way, it's just this is what I'm talking about. It just drives me absolutely batshit crazy. All right, I got to take a breath and see if you guys got questions. I really don't want to watch this screen, but it's all I got on right now, so I have to watch this screen. It's really annoying. Omar, he's got him in trading for a year. Some week I can find success. No, I really just want to master this craft. So much BS on the internet. What can I do to get your level? Well, Omar, I'm showing you what you can do to get to my level, right? So I have my trade room. So let's just go through this since while we're getting algoed. So this is what I put in the YouTube channel. This flip book. This is everything I do. Here's my website. Everything I use in my trading. Here's the indicator course, the 6 distinct setups. Here's a trading strategy where I look for the setups in important areas to take trades. Here's the reversion course that shows how to take these reversion trades, the proper way to take them, the disqualifiers. Here's the zone drawing tool. This is on the Bookmap Marketplace, right? So this will make your life a million times easier so that you can draw again, just like you can learn without the courses, you can draw this stuff manually. Have fun. I did it for 7 years. Have fun in a fast market. You're going to miss about at least half your trades, right? So I'm just sitting here. Hopefully I'm not going to get headline here, and I'm just waiting for it. Anyway, it draws this information on the chart, right? And it shows you what's so great about this tool now is it shows you your position sizing. Here's the position sizing for the position trades. Here's your position sizing for the individual reversion trades. You set up, you put your account size, and it tells you exactly what you put on. So you can see here the advanced. You go into Scott zones here. I got a breath from chirping so much. So I have 4,000. I just put. I want to risk $400 a trade. So you put in your capital. I just put 10%. You don't want to risk 10% on it of your account on a single trade. I'm not. I just put it in so it comes out to $400, right? So every trade I take, it's $400 risk. That's risking $400 for position. That's risking $400 each one of these. That's why I'm saying if this rips up, I'm going to lose $800 because I have full size on both these reversions. So that's that. I forgot what I was saying now. Guys, I got to turn the 6-strike off. I can't. I'm not. I am so worn down from these markets in the headline. I'm not going to listen to that right now. I'll take my loss in silence. Back to the flip book, right? So there's a zone drawing tool. The basic just gives you the zone and the ATR. The pro gives you the zone, the ATR, the entry, exit, the reversion trades. You can change your the thresholds. You know, I don't recommend changing any thresholds until you watch them for 8 years like I have, and then you can do whatever you want. Another question I get is, can I trade overnight? The Globex session, the European session. Yeah, normally, most times, you just want to make sure it's not really heavy relative volume, but the relative volume is normal. You come in here and you can get advanced and you can change these thresholds. These are my day thresholds. I would change them to half, right? But if you get a night like last night, like this, you don't want to be changing the threshold. Just use normal thresholds because there's something bigger going on, obviously, with the war stuff, right? This was overnight, right? You don't want to be using half thresholds when you see this. This is the Sierra chart relative volume. This is showing me the exact time period. I look back 30 days. If you see this, use regular thresholds, right? There's big money in here. You don't want to be messing around with half thresholds. If you see like this stuff or even 100%, meaning normal, then you can use half thresholds overnight. So I get that all the time too. All right, I digress. But continuing on Omar's question, right? So this has been a really fun trade to sit in, by the way. Hey, look at that price change game left and right now. I'll get into that again. Losing my train of thought today. All right, so there's a zone drawing tool. This is obsolete. I'm turning this off. You get the spreadsheet as part of my room. This is how I used to enter. That's this guy. This is how I used to enter my trades, I'd have to do it by hand before the zone drawing tool. This is the zone drawing tool on the heat map. That's all that is. You don't have to do it by hand anymore because you don't want to do it by hand. Trust me. Here's my trade room, Omar. So come in the trade room. There's many like-minded traders. That's this guy. Let's see if they're participating today. There's Dune Runner. I thought he was leaving. He's the teacher's pet. He's the closest mini me in my room. He's been in there for about 3 years now, I think. Anyway, so yesterday was pretty dead, but you got many profitable traders in here posting. This is what I want from my room: posting the setups, posting what you're seeing, right? Like, and it's not come in here and make calls. Oh, I think the Nasdaq's going up today. No one gives a flying what you think. Post, hey, look, there's a sell ice event that was broken ice in this area. Here's my screenshot, and it's only going to make you better too. So if you come on my trade room, participate. But that's how you're going to learn too, Omar, is getting in there, being with like-minded traders and posting your stuff. And then I critique it, they critique it. Sometimes you'll get a verbal lashing if you continue to make stupid mistakes. They're meant to be funny, but also educational. This is a discounted Bookmap Global Plus, which I recommend because it gives you everything, like the sweeps indicator, all that stuff. Click on that, and you get all the stuff. You just click on it, you get it. You need the MBO bundle to get the stop iceberg information to be able to disseminate the stop iceberg information, the enhanced data from the CME, or else you can't get it. And there's only 2 data feeds that give it to you: Rhythmic and Bookmap Data. Bookmap Data is cheaper and better, in my opinion, so far of watching this. Again, Rhythmic had no competition for about 7 years until Bookmap Data. But you find this on the regular Bookmap site. It's not on the marketplace. So go over here, go to more, go to Bookmap Market Data, and you can see 50% off. And if you do the bundle, it's $79 bucks versus the Rhythmic, right? Go over here, Market Data. I still don't know why they don't put this on the marketplace, but hit Rhythmic. So if you just want to watch certain exchanges, then you just take individual exchanges. Say, I just want to watch the Nasdaq considering, I'm assuming you're non-pro. It's going to cost you $40. And then you say, oh, I want to watch gold too. Now it's another 40. Oh, I want to watch crude and natural gas, another 40. I want to watch bonds and grains. See what I'm saying? So if you get the bundle, it's for 101, but their bundle 79. So that's a no-brainer, obviously. And again, I have the Bookmap data on this computer. I have a Bookmap on my other computer just to validate these zones. The reason I don't have Bookmap data on my main computer is because you can't hook it to a brokerage yet. So that's why I have to use Rhythmic on my main computer. But that's this guy here. All right, so let's see if it had the same zones coming down here at Nasdaq. So that event was at 53.25 to 35. It's been a fun trade, these reversion trades, by the way. Quite enjoyable sitting in here for 40 minutes waiting for it to do something. 53.25. So this one drew exactly what the Bookmap data did. You'll get variations. Again, it also depends on your clock. You want to make sure you're on the right. Sync your clock. Actually, I need to do this. You always want to sync your clock to the time and NST. Let's see here. I forgot how to do this now. I haven't been on here for a while. Time and language, date and time. I don't know why it just doesn't sync automatically. Hit sync now, right? Because you may be on, like for instance, on that move down. If your time is off, because I have this on reset mode too, right? I have this this reversion. I don't want to jinx it, but it may work after all this torture. So yeah, but on reset mode, you can turn it to like, Dune Runner, the mini me, he has his on sliding. I like reset mode, but you got to keep an eye on it. Because again, if you reset, so I have my iceberg's at a minute and my stop's at 10 seconds. Well, if I hit the minute mark on my computer and the iceberg, it just cuts off. Doesn't mean the iceberg stopped coming in. It cuts off at the minute mark. Well, if your minute mark is different than mine, you're going to get a different event prices. See what I'm saying? So you gotta be cognizant of that. But anyway, Bookmap data is, in my opinion, it's been more reliable. Rhythmic is still good. I mean, again, I have Rhythmic on these computers. I mean, on my main computer. All right, we got tick extremes. See if this pig can get down here. This is a good sign for this trade. Doesn't mean it's going to happen right now, but this is the big money. What does the big money get? They get what they want eventually, right? This is the game I used to play, right? I'm digressing. I'll finish that flip book. This is the game I used to play. In the ES, right? You see 200 here versus everything else. That's why this is so lit up. Well, they're going to push their orders into this liquidity very likely. Hopefully it's right now. The way I used to do it, I used to put my orders in the ES. That was my main market. And this is when it was 1,000 lots up, right? I'd put like 1,000 there. And then I'd start testing the water. I'd sell some. And no one was fighting me. Then I would start to lay on the gas, sell more. I could put up to 3,000 contracts, right? And I'd have like a couple layers of bids down here, just like this. And then it would start to get closer to my order. And then I'm going to show you something with Market Pulse too. It's the order book pressure. I would start putting in thousands on the offer to make people scared to buy. Like, oh crap, there's thousands on the offer, and that would push the market right into my bids. And then I would cancel everything, vacuum, and then it could do whatever it wants. That's what's going on here too, guys. It's the same games. That's what I'm teaching you. The stuff I'm teaching you is not theory. It's actual how I used to react. As a large scalper, one of the largest on the planet at the time, I used to average 10% of the world volume in the E-mini S&P every day. It's back when it traded 500,000 contracts a day. I was 50,000 of those every day. I used to average over 1 million contracts a month. Again, I'm not bragging. It's glory days. I'm telling you, I know what the hell I'm talking about because I used to play this game. So it's not sit here and get pissed off. Oh, I'm getting algoed. I'm showing you everything. If you can't beat them, to join them. I'm showing you the games they play here. I'm showing you the price change algo game. I'm showing you the icebergs where the big money is getting in. Again, instead of getting mad like so many traders that got blown out, like floor traders and everything else, oh, you can't win with these algos. You sure can. If you know what they're doing, and we know what they're doing, we can see what's going on here. Speaking of which, I guarantee the hero's turning over here. Very out of breath today from my chirping. Let's see. How did I know? It's like I'm psychic, isn't it? Thing just turned over $2.5 billion. And what did it do? Drag the NASDAQ and ES down. All right, I'm going to get out of a couple of these here just because this is GEX1 and it may bounce off that.
Order filled.
Hold on, you little piglet. Don't be running away on me. Or you can just rip right through it too. That works. All right, I'm just going to keep this one. I just put the one on this other side account. So let's see if we can get down here. 58.50. But guys, you see what it just did? Like that trade, I'm not out of it yet either. But it felt terrible. Felt like I was going to get stopped out. Did you see me doing anything stupid? No, I knew exactly where I was stopping out of the one. I knew exactly where I was stopping out of the two. They can play algo games, price change games for the next 15 hours. I don't give a you know what. I sit in the trade and I let my edge work out, hopefully. Again, if it didn't, big deal. This one won. This one may not have. There's another tick extreme, by the way. Here, now I'm going to get out a couple of these. I can't even get my mouse over here quick enough before it rips out. All right, so the rest, I'm just letting these puppies ride. I got 4 on. Here, I'll get out of one. Because the thing is, you're hitting tick extremes here too. Actually, it's popping back up. So many times it hit tick extremes and it'll rip. There's traders that play this, right? But there you go. Winner, winner, chicken for dinner. So guys, that is a great example, right? I didn't do anything stupid. I did get out of one here just because the tick extreme, but that's fine. And I got one up here at GEX1. I'm fine with that. The 2 was a good trade back to this. So this is the reversion trade. So this is what I tell my traders too. If you want to focus on the reversion trade, you should be screenshotting this. You can screenshot right out of Bookmap here. Save chart image. You can post it. This is what you should be doing. You should post it right into Twitter. Makes you a better trader. Hey, look at this reversion trade I caught. You compile 50, 100 of these. Every morning you wake up, you say, oh yeah, remember that one that felt like I was going to lose, but it didn't because I didn't do anything stupid and I followed my rules. Oh, by the way, I wonder if this liquidity is going to get filled down here. Real surprising. I just told you that game. That's not rocket science. There's another one. I don't know if I showed this. I did because I'm very happy with this after what they did to me yesterday. Screenshot this, right? This is, guys, this is what you do. And then you just, every morning you wake up, whatever strategies you're trading, you funnel through the 50, 100 examples. You're ready to go. You know it works. You know you have an edge. The next 5 may not work. Doesn't matter. So show this example every day. So important for traders to understand this. Most of your trading days is like a chart, like this nonsense. You make a little, you lose a little, make a little, lose a little, make a little, lose a little. Then you have a huge day, month making, year making day. Then you go back to this. You never have that because you stop yourself. So on a day, you're taking reversions, which happens all the time lately with the headline nonsense. By the way, I can add to my Izzy here, my Izzy Long that I got on, which I'm going to do. I was waiting for this retest.
Order filled.
All right. Remember, I was waiting for the price change back to I could have done it here too, but I just got it. So this could keep going. That's fine. I know where my stop is. Stop's down here. But the point is, some days stuff doesn't work. You may lose 5 in a row. That's fine. If you hit your limit for the day, and it should never be more than 5 or 6% of your account size, you quit. You don't have one of these and then have one of these. You say, I'm done. You beat me today, because markets are markets. Weird shit happens, especially during war. Pardon my language. You just say, okay, I'm going to go work out today. I'll see you tomorrow. I know I have an edge. I'm not. That's the other thing. You don't sit there and say, oh my God, this stuff doesn't work. Scott doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I just took 4 losses in a row. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've been trading this edge for 8 years. I'm telling you, it's the best edge I've ever seen. So that's the biggest thing with traders. They don't ever know if they have a real edge, right? They're always like, they see something on the internet. I'm going to try that. It works for a week and then it doesn't anymore, right? And then they jump to the next edge. They jump to that. That's what causes traders. That's what knocks them out of the game. They're jumping from edge to edge. They don't have rules. They're trading by feel, right? So if you have an edge, some days it's just, that's what, again, here we go. My usual rant on these. I do it for my room too, because they're supposed to have this tattooed to their forehead. This is straight out of Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. You guys hear it every webinar, and I will keep saying it to the day that I am no longer being tortured in these markets, which means I'm below ground. Let's see here. I need a breath anyway. Hold on here. Where's that? Feels good not to talk for a second. Why can't I find this? All right, I can't find it. Don't worry, you're still going to get it. I'll find it. Let me go to my other drive here. This is perfect too. I said I needed a breath. I just feel like I've been talking with energy for a long time. Trading in the Zone deck. Oh, you know what's in this one? Sorry. Those of you that heard it 50 times, you got to be like, yeah, I already know it, Scott. You don't have to show it again, but I'm going to show it again, because if you can't internalize this, you're in the wrong business. Period. First of all, the 5 truths. Anything can happen. Remember, I was in those reversions that looked like it was going to work immediately, and Trump said something and ripped off the page. And again, I think that's what it was. I don't know. I don't care. Right? Anything can happen. You could have the best looking trade on that you've seen work 50 times in a row. Anything can happen, and you lose on it. You don't need to know. And this is all out of Trading in the Zone, by the way, by Mark Douglas. Or do you know? I added that part. What's going to happen next in order to make money? I don't know what's going to happen next. I know I have an edge. I put the trade on. Then I'm getting to the casino example. There's a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables to find an edge. Random distribution. I don't know that means you don't know which ones are going to work. So you just keep taking the trade. An edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening over another. Higher probability. Does that mean it happens all the time, every time? No. Every moment the market's unique. Again, so it doesn't look, I don't care how good the trade looks. I see this happen 50 times a day. Does that mean this one's going to do this? No, I don't know. But I do know that happens more often than it doesn't. So I put the trade on. Here we go. Learn to trade an edge like a casino. So this is how the reversion trade was born, by the way. I did this exercise. I'm not going to get into that right now, but that's how the trade was born. You can be the casino if you have an edge that generally puts the odds of success in your favor. I'm showing you that edge. You can think about trading in the appropriate manner. What the hell? An actual event in ES? What's going on here? Sell ice at a bunch of gex levels. This isn't a sexy gex. I would need to see buy ice into these gex levels, not sell ice. Let's see what's going on in Mr. Trace here. So you get the rant, guys. You got to view it like a casino. Casino doesn't know which hands they're going to lose. They don't know if a dude's going to come in and wax for $1 million. They know if they deal for the year, they're going to be profitable. Why? Because the math's in their favor. What's math? An edge. So see this right here? See how this is filling? Came off and it's filling back in. This look, and look how many are down here. If I were a betting man, which I am, I would bet the market comes and tags this today. If it comes off, then it may reverse. But as of right now, you got to use it as targets, especially if it keeps filling in. You know, Brent from Stock Analyst says, we'll look at 99% is really important. But I mean, when you get 50 of them, they're not, none of these are 99% yet. Let's look at net open interest. See all these down here. Let's see how these filled in too. Let's see if they filled in. So he doesn't like this stuff. He doesn't look at it. Doesn't, not that he doesn't like it. He doesn't look at this as closely because he says it's longer term stuff. He likes to look at the GEX because this is happening right now with the 0 day to expiration nonsense manipulation game that they play. But again, guys, you got to know this stuff. You got to know where this stuff is and what's going on in these other things because they're driving the market. All right, what I can't take here is reversions off of this. Well, first and foremost, position trading wise, where are we at? And you hear this continued tick extremes too. So this is very likely. Let's see how long this is hanging down here. If this just keeps hanging, most of the time it tags a tick and rips back up to at least the 0 line. If it just hangs down here, it means it's program selling. It means the funds are dumping baskets of stocks. So most, just like anything in trading, most of the time it tags a tick extreme. This one hasn't even done an ES, and then it will rip back up. Right? It'll just be like a random one time out of the day or a couple times. Then there's days where it just stays here, right? That tells you if it just stays there, it means it's program selling, the big money selling. All right, I'm not even going to look at crude right now. Let's talk about every news story. Anyway, so back to where we at here, 618. So this is kind of right through this Izzy. You know, if this held, I could take what I am going to take here is a failed balance breakout. This is the best trade in trading. This is a little balance from yesterday. Two-sided trade, right? So this is all fractal. What else do you see here? Why does this market look like it's going to 0? Just kidding, not 0, but I'm not kidding about this market looking like it's going to get smoked. I'm not saying right now, but look at this. Everything's fractal. Look at that puppy. Buyers, sellers, buyers, sellers, buyers, sellers. Longer term, for weeks, months. What did it do? Broke down, did its usual bungee jump. Guess what? It did not get through. The high volume node. Right there. Turns around, comes back. Now it looks like it's going to make it's real. You get this so often where they love, because it's so obvious on the breakdown, right? They love to rip it back, juke everybody, then it goes, right? So I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's more likely going to happen. What I do know, this was a balance from yesterday, smaller one. Again, everything's fractal. I showed you a bigger one. I showed you a smaller one. Well, smaller ones aren't as powerful, but I will still take this guy. And this, you can consider this either this a balance or this a balance. So you got two different strategies right here. And this is the best position trade in trading, the failed balance breakout. When markets break out of balance, and I could show you a million of them, and they can't go, they get back through the high volume node, kind of like I showed you the high volume node of that guy that held. Best trade in trading. I will take this and I'm going to take a double size. Again, now this is my thesis. What I think is going to happen matches if this turns bearish. I'm not doing it. I'm not just jumping in this right now. And it doesn't, and it just because it's sell ice doesn't mean, big money selling here. It doesn't mean that they're right. They're wrong as well. They're right more than they're wrong. Anyway, if I'm going to take this FBB, this is my entry. That's the yellow line, right? It's just an outside of an ATR. ATR is almost 12 now in ES. Now my stop will go here. That's if it moves down here. I may be taking a long here. This could be an Izzy long. Let's see what else we got. So you see what I'm doing? I'm waiting for a volume event in my important areas. Then I'm not imposing my will. I'm letting the volume event tell me what to do. If it's a bullish or bearish event, from me watching so many of these, that's how I determine if it can move, meaning if it can move the ATR out. This is a potential pick long or a pick short. This is a prior guide, actually bounced off there yesterday too, right? Here's a volume event. If this holds, I could take a pick long. What I'm going to do here, so the picks, you can take one of two ways. This is subjective too, where you can wait, first move out, you take it, or you wait for the ATR retest. In this case, I'm going to wait for ATR retest because I just showed you we're breaking below that balance and we're below this whopper pick here. So if I'm going to take it off this prior one, with the market's already kind of traded through it back and forth, but I'm still willing to take it because it bounced yesterday, I believe. Let's see. Let's pull out yesterday and see what it did. Remove rightmost. I'm pretty sure it bounced. Yep. See this? See, it's still relevant. So I'm okay taking this pick. This was yesterday's trade. Look where this thing bounced yesterday. Same exact spot. Does it mean it's going to bounce today? No. And I'll take this pick, but I also want to see ATR retest confirm that that's a pattern that I demand where it's a little more conservative, right? And then I could possibly miss this trade, meaning if I'm waiting for this to tag the ATR to prove to be a bullish event, retest, then come back to take the trade, that's great. But what if it just goes like this? So then I don't have the trade on. So that's my decision. That's the decision I'm making right here. This is what I mean. You get better at this stuff the more you watch it. So that's what I'm going to determine there. If this cannot hit the ATR, aka turn into a bullish event, then I'm taking the FBB short and I'm taking that puppy double size. The entry is, and you can see the entry prices over here. That's 6,800. See the short aggressive line? That's the yellow line. But I'm not going to enter right on these GEX levels. I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it a little bit below there. So I'll put it at like 97.25. Hold on, did I ever get out of the rest of this? Yeah, damn it. I think I got this guy on still. I'm trading like so many different accounts. That's what's going on here. Hold on. Oh yeah, I'm still in this guy like that. Hold on.
Order filled.
All right. All right. So if this breaks, I'm not betting, placing a trade double size. So I could put on 3. That's, remember, I'm risking $400. Well, if this turns bearish, it's matching my thesis of going to 0. Again, I'm kidding with that, but I think the markets are going to get smoked. I think, no idea. If the real-time event tells me, then I'm ready to go. I'm going to trade 6, but what I'm going to do here, I'll put on normal size, and then if it does the price change game, I'll add to it. Or this turns bullish, and then we got Izzy's, and a pick trade long. Right. Speaking of which, did I ever put my stop in? Because I am long pick and I added to it. Yeah. So my stop for this pick long, or my Izzy long from earlier, is here. So we caught the reversion short, and I remember I took that pick long. I mean the Izzy long. We caught the Izzy and pick short. I got out of the shorts, went long, added on the price change. So I'm currently long. So that, guys, this is another thing too that you need to realize, right? This is why firms use icebergs. Look what this market did when it got down to this size. The algos ran it away. They saw this size in here and they ran it away. That's why firms have to use icebergs, because if they put in big orders, these algos run it away from them, trying to force them to change it. So this is this game, right? So say this firm wants to buy, and they're not really, these algos aren't picking up whether it just comes in or it's been sitting here, as far as I know, right? So it's like the market comes here. A firm says, oh, I want to buy here. They put in 200. These algos say, oh, you want to buy 200? Now I know you want to do something because of the size, and I know it's large. I'm going to run it away from you. I'm going to put my offers way up here. I'm going to make you chase this buy order right into my offers, and then I'm going to turn around and flip it right back down, right? So that's the game that goes on. Again, it's annoying, but if you know what's going on, that's more than half the battle. If you can't beat them, join them. So that's exactly what happened here. Another thing, if you're holding trades to the rest of the liquidity, which I do, like this will be like a target, you don't have to wait for this to fill to get out. Get out, because it doesn't mean it's not coming back here, because these guys will get their fill, but this thing can move 300 points before it comes back here. All right, I gotta take a breath. Questions, throw them in, please. Anyway, Omar, I told you how to find success at my level. You need to learn what I'm doing. Get the courses, come in the room. You don't need the courses, but it's going to take you a lot longer to learn. No good voice. Could you talk a lot louder, please? This is all I got. NQ Micro, does it not confuse to manage different strategies? Yeah, it absolutely does. You have to have the bandwidth to do it, NQ. I have the bandwidth. You may not want to do multiple strategies. I wouldn't focus on one. Perfectly fine. You're going to be, you got to be patient because you may not, the reversion trade's all over the place. So this is what I'm going to recommend. Like I'm building this like drip sequence for my trade room for new members that come in. Learn the reversion trade first, right? This will get you accustomed to understanding how these market trades around these events. It's more of a scalp and it's defined where you know exactly where you're getting in, exactly where you're getting out. There's no subjectiveness, if the trade's going your way. That's one of my issues for issues traders have with this is there's just so much to understand with different strategies, right? So I highly recommend you just take one strategy reversion and get really, really good at that. And then if you want to start trading position strategies, then do that. But yeah, some traders don't have the bandwidth to watch 8 markets and 20 strategies. I understand that. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just don't have the bandwidth for that. Your gifts may be in another area. Nissan, in Bookmap, difference between LT bid and LT ask is confusing me. What do you mean LT? What's LT? What are you referring to LT here? So explain what you mean, and I'll try to explain it the best I can. If there's a lot more LT bids, what is LT? I don't know what LT is. And price is moving down. Does that mean we're in accumulation food before a bullish move? I can't answer that until I know what you mean by LT. Nisa, could you explain your Bookmap add-on in simple terms how it works? I'm interested in it. Liquidity Tracker Pro. I'm not even using Liquidity Tracker right now. But yeah, if you see it, well, first of all, it's like magnets, right? But yeah, if you see it fill and it can't bust through, it's very likely going up. I don't trade off liquidity by itself, so I don't recommend that. Doesn't mean you can't. I mean, there's ways to use it for targets and everything else. You may see an edge in it, guys. That's the other thing, right? I'm showing you how I interpret things, right? Over my experience of trading for 25 plus years, right? It doesn't mean, and this is what I want. This is what I want for my trading room, and guys they're doing it. Right? Doesn't mean that you can't watch this, right? So say you're taking the reverse. This is a perfect example. Guy in my trading room is Dan H. Go to my YouTube channel. I actually did a webinar or a mentoring session with him over a year ago. Right? Where's my YouTube? Right here. Click on this. Let's see if it just pops up here. Dan H. No, it's not finding my videos. It's got to be about a year ago. It's over a year ago. Let's see. I think I named it Mentoring with Dan H. Of course, the stuff's not in order. Why would it be in order? That makes too much sense. So stupid. 4 years, 3 years, 2 years. Right here. Mentoring with Dan H. I even put it in the room for you guys. So this is right when he started. When was this? Right at the bottom here, by the way. 127. So over a year ago. Right? Now he's in there and he's a profitable trader. So I go over like the Izzy zones, everything like that. I can't remember everything I talked to him about. The point is, he's been in here long enough. He was trading the reversion trade. And then he started to see tendencies. He likes to take the aggressive reversions, meaning as the market moves into them. Remember, I took the back in black where I was waiting for it to bounce off something and come back. He likes to take the aggressive ones, but because he kept noticing the aggressive ones worked with a price change. As the market moved into him, it was price changing, and Algo Guy was in his direction, meaning like this one would be a Dan H special, right? So Algo Guy was bearish at the time, so that he's got that. So Algo Guy is just an exponential moving average. If the blue is below the red, it's bearish. If the blue is above the red, it's bullish. Short-term stuff. So he took what I was doing and he said, I'm going to take the reversions. If I get a price change into these reversion lines with a price change, like I said, and the algo guy's in the direction because it has much more of a tendency to come back, right? So that's my point. You may love to trade Liquidity Tracker Pro. I'm not using that in that way, and that's perfectly fine. Actually, let me cancel this order. I'm still long Nasdaq, by the way. This has not proven to be bullish or bearish. So that's another example. I'll do this in order, but the Dallas Home Guide. I took the NQ VWAP short back to the, got it back to the event, got 80 points. Another perfect example. I don't use the back and blacks off VWAP. You say I love VWAP. That's your area. You take it off VWAP. Not only did you have VWAP, I do take it off yellow lug. I didn't see this. I still took the trade. You got yellow lug level, which is kind of like a VWAP, right? Confluent with VWAP. So this is a perfect example, Dallas. You can say, I only take reversions when it bounces off VWAP and I take it back to the event. See what I'm saying? So it's taking what I'm teaching you. You don't want to start throwing in all your own variables until you understand what the hell you're doing. But once you know what you're doing, this is what I want. And you guys give me ideas. Like I didn't know about Algo Guide until I mentored a guy 6 years ago about this thing. Now I use it extensively in my trading. I didn't know about, what else did I know about? Ludwig levels. I had a guy in my room, this was 5 years, Short Squeeze Chris was his name. He made $1.3 million and got out of trading because he just said he knew he was going to give it all back. He was actually just in town 2 weeks ago. I met him out for a drink. And we went to the casino and counted cards too. So anyway, he kept telling me about these Ludwig levels. And he's just like, they're the most powerful thing I've ever seen. He just sit for months. Finally, I didn't just start trading off of them. I watched them for another 3-4 months. And that's on my YouTube channel too. When I did a webinar with her, Pamela Ludwig, and these are still now, they used to be the second most powerful thing I've ever seen next to the Stop Iceberg events. They're now the third because the hero stuff is the second most powerful. And it's probably a close tie with based on meaning what controls these markets. Anyway, that's this. You go to her 1972 website here. She still hasn't fixed. Put your name, number, comment, say I want the 3-day trial. Or you get the 3-day trial to check them out. You'll be blown away. And say you saw them on the Bookmap webinar. I'll show you special pricing. But anyway, the point is I've learned things from traders. So if you find something with a liquidity tracker and next week you say, hey Scott, I'm trading your stuff and I noticed the liquidity tracker, blah, 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 the bid and ask, it works great with what you're doing. I'll take a look at it, right? You don't ever think you know everything there is about trading. I don't even know a fraction of what I could know, not should know, right? That it just accumulates with your experience. So I can't really explain that to you. Bid and ask, if there was a lot more LT bids and prices moving down, does that mean we're in an accumulation fund? Well, yeah, they're putting in, like, you're still not going to know what they're doing. Like, what is this liquidity right now? Just like you don't know what the icebergs are doing. You don't know if they're getting out or initiating. You don't need to know. You don't know if this bid in here, this heavy size, the 200 plus contracts in here, that's still there, that will get filled, right? You don't know whether they're initiating a long or they're short from way up here. You don't need to know. You need to know how it reacts there. So if this comes down and fills it and it can't push lower and starts to move away, you could take longs off that. I don't take longs just off liquidity. I do get out of my trades if it can't get through, right? That's the trading in the zone document. Again, number 5, right here. I pay myself as the market makes money available to me. These are all the areas I get out. Most of them I put on trades at, right? These are my important areas. Struggle to get through heavy resting liquidity. So if I was short and it came down here, just like this right here. So if I say I held my original shorts all the way down here, which I did, I got out of some down here. And then I got out of the rest when it spiked up. I think I did. I can't remember, whatever. And I see it struggling to get through here. I'm getting out of some. If it just plows right through, then you can hold it. So for your own thing, you can say, okay, I wait for heavy resting liquidity. I need an SI event, and I'm jumping right in, and then I put my stop on the other side of it. If it holds and keeps getting bounces, or I like to take shorts if it rips right through and goes the other way. Right? You see what I'm saying? So guys, the options are infinite. But all I know is you have everything you can possibly ever need to make it as a trader with Bookmap. I mean, that's all. If it wasn't for Bookmap, I would not be in the business. You guys hear the story all the time. I'd be sitting. I got out of the business in 2013 because I could not make money. Dr. Brett Steenbarger, the guy that I just had wrote the book that I just had to meet, so I didn't get locked up in a rubber room. He introduced me to Bookmap, and the minute I saw this thing, I knew I was back, and that was before the Stop Iceberg event. Right, so. I'm going to tell you another story about that too. I just forgot. Joining late, so price hit the red line and bounced up. Code, yeah, I mean it hit it, but it's liquidity. I've already gone over this. You just have to watch the replay. But yeah, this red line is resting orders in the order book. The algos sensed this big order and they ran it away. This is why firms use icebergs, because if they put in big orders and it's just sitting there visible, then these algos run it away from them, trying to make them chase, and then they're the ones that get filled at better prices, right? Icebergs are just, I should have covered this right away. Icebergs are just hidden orders in the order book where they only have to display a fraction of the size. I think it's 10% now. It's pretty much always been 10%. So this sell iceberg, just say this buy iceberg came down. What was this at the time? Right, that was 153. And I also have certain thresholds for each market. I don't trade every blip of this thing. If it hits a certain threshold, for instance, NASDAQ is 150. 150 or more, I'm trading that event. If it's not 150, I don't trade it. But in the order book, it looked like 15 lot on the bid. Someone came down and said, oh, I'm going to pound that thing. And then there was another 135 behind it, or 137, right? That's what it is. It doesn't populate until it's traded into. They have to do that. That's why they pay more money to use icebergs, because they lose a lot more money from algos running away from their orders. All right. So this is now an official bullish event in ES. Remember, I was going to take the FBB shorts. That's off the table. Why? Because it was able to move the ATR, which is almost 12. That's the blue line. So now I know this is a bullish event. Does that mean it has to go up? No, more likely it's going to go up than go down. Remember, I'm not taking aggressive trades, meaning first move out of here. Remember, we have the Izzy trade where I'm looking for this event in an important area. This is one of my important areas, the inflection zones. It was like right on the edge. Remember, these are zones, are not exact prices. So I'll take that long. And this held right now, by the way, right where it should have, did not be killed yet. But watch if this comes later today and takes out these two buying tails and this high volume node of this balance area, then this is very, very, very likely going to get smoked. So you just jump in a short? No, get your volume event. Wait for it to confirm bearish. Then you can get short. That's what I do, and I'll trade double size. In the meantime, the other important area here is the PIC trade. Profiles encouraged. Market profile composite low. Oh, I'm way over time, guys. Time flies when you're having fun. This here. But I'm still going to wait for ATR retest confirm because we got that guy there. So these are just, you can go long right now if you want. Doesn't mean it's going to come back and retest the zone. And then you have reversions you can take, right? I'm not seeing a ton here for back in blacks. The reversion trade where I'm waiting for it to bounce. So say it comes up there, I would take those reversions, kind of like we took in NASDAQ, and took both of these, one in NASDAQ, took the 2 and the 1 off these GEX levels up here. That worked, and we took the one in Russell too. This worked like a charm off the put support. Right? So, all right, guys, I've been talking. I knew I was talking a long time. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I've been talking so long. So anyway, just to finish this up, I'll put this in one more time. This is everything I use in my trading. I had to turn off tick strike because I was going to lose my mind. YouTube channel. Oh, Mentor Q. These are those gamma levels on the heat map. Use them all day, every day. 20% off yearly, monthly. Here's Spot Gamma. Use Scott for 50% off your first month. That's where you get the hero, the real-time hero, the trace. Speaking of which, let's see what this did real quick. Sorry for the other educator that's coming on if I'm going over his time, but this is the trace. You get all this. Get the main, the elite, whatever it is, you get half off. Why does this keep logging me out? These are the real-time GEX levels coming in right now for the manipulation. This isn't working now, of course. Let's check on this one. Maybe it'll work on this one. Sometimes, they have issues too. This feed is like, it costs them $500,000 a month to run the hero. So this isn't working right now. Well, we looked at the trace earlier. But 50% off. And then the other thing, guys, again, if you learn my stuff, the one I'm using right now, these are a dime a dozen. The one I've used for 5 years now, 4 or 5 years, Apex Trader Funding. Use Pulcini 50. That's my affiliate code. That's your thank you to me for showing you the best edge in the history of the planet and futures trading. But this is how you want to get, you don't risk your own money until you know what the hell you're doing. You can get in here. Oh, they finally changed this crappy website they had. So I don't even know how to work this now, but I use like the 150 and the 200. I don't even have the 200 in here now. This is a brand new website. Anyway, that's how you can get in here for a fraction of the cost. That's what I got right here. So this one just qualified yesterday. So I got my live accounts. I'm doing my own thing. This one's close. Got to make 9 grand before you lose 5, and it's a trailing. And then this one qualified yesterday. I put on 1 trade on this today, right? So that I still use these, right? I have live accounts that my buddy backed me on. He put 200,000 in, and I'm trading 10 of those accounts, and I do my own thing too. So anyway, and that's Apex. I'm using Apex, and I copy from Apex to the live, which you can do as well. Pulcini 50 for that, and then that's about it. And then those two, Tick Strike, I've used for 15 years. Again, Market Pulse is I didn't even show you all that. I'll show you next week the Market Pulse stuff. I'm making a course on it too. A lot of the levels. I don't use Trader Sync. Come to my room, you get the Zen Edge, Andrew's AI coaching. It's incredible. And then here's the reviews. Here's my website. If you need to contact me, there you go. All right, guys. So nothing but winners today. Does that mean it happens every day? No, but I like winners. There's the reversion here. Caught this reversion. Caught huge shorts to start the webinar. Still long NASDAQ here. Stops down here. That's all I do. I wait for my events, wait for my rules, put the trade on, come to my room. I do this every day. Same thing you're watching today. All right. I will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining. Please like the video, guys. It helps Bookmap and for their algorithm. The least you can do is give me a